Hello, welcome to part 2 of The Little Mermaid. So, what happened last time in part 1 was that there was this deep sea king and he had a lot of daughters. The youngest daughter loved the surface called the land because there were birds and flowers there. So, on each mermaid's 15th birthday, they're allowed to go onto the land. And when it was our protagonist's turn, she went on land and she saw a prince. And then the prince drowned. So, the Little Mermaid saved him and brought him to shore. And then the Little Mermaid became infatuated with him. Now, she wanted to marry the prince, but she, as mermaids do, has a tail instead of feet. So she goes to the deep sea queen, not the deep sea queen, the deep sea witch. So she gets legs, but in return she gets her voice taken away, and yeah, so that's basically what happened. And then the prince takes the Little Mermaid into his palace. Let's go. Instead, the girl used her graceful movements and expressive eyes to speak to those around her. She danced and glided on her new legs as though she were swimming on land. Everyone in the palace was enchanted by the Little Mermaid, especially the prince. He felt as if he had met her before. Everywhere the prince went, the Little Mermaid was by his side. They rode together on horseback through the sweet-scented woods. Green boughs touched their shoulders, and little birds sang among the fresh leaves. She climbed with the prince to the tops of tall mountains. They wound their way higher and higher until they could see soft clouds far below them. As the days passed, the Little Mermaid loved the prince deeply, and he also grew very fond of her. At night, when the royal household was asleep, the Little Mermaid would follow the broad marble steps from the palace down to the water's edge. There she would sit in the moonlight and bathe her weary feet in the cool sea water. Her thoughts would turn to her beloved family deep in the water below. One night, her sisters rose to the surface, singing sorrowfully as they floated on the water. She beckoned to them, and they recognized her and swam closer. They told the Little Mermaid how much they missed her. They pleaded with her to return with them to their land beneath the sea. Under the ocean. The Little Mermaid smiled at them. She wanted to tell them how happy she was. She could only gesture with her eyes and graceful movements of her hands and arms. She tried to explain how wonderful it was to be with the prince. Her sisters were comforted to see that the Little Mermaid was happy. After that, her sisters came to the palace every night to visit her. Once, she even saw her father in the distance. He had not been to the surface in many years, and did not venture so near the land as her sisters. One day, the prince and the Little Mermaid returned from a walk in the gardens to find the king and queen waiting to speak with the prince. They had made an acquaintance of a neighboring king, and they believed his daughter, the princess, would make a suitable bride for him. The Little Mermaid felt a sudden chill. After all she had sacrificed to be with the prince, would he choose to marry another? At the thought, her expressive eyes became brilliant with tears. Yet she smiled at the prince. The prince reached for the Little Mermaid's hand. When she turned to him, she saw a look of love. Could her dream be coming true? "Mother and father," said the prince, "my true love is here. I desire no other." The prince sank to one knee and looked into the Little Mermaid's eyes. She bent her head to kiss the prince's cheek. Suddenly, the Little Mermaid's voice returned to her. Their love had broken the sea with a spell. Soon after, the prince and the Little Mermaid were married. As they set sail on their wedding voyage, the king and queen waved for the shore. The Little Mermaid's sisters and father followed the ship out to sea. The Little Mermaid and the handsome prince lived happily ever after. The end! I hope that you liked the story. I also hope that you like this foot, because I do. Yeah. So, see you next time. I'm gonna sing you a small little song. Hope I don't get copyright claimed. Under the ocean, it's so good. There's so much fish I can eat, and so much goods. There's so much jewels and roams and something else. Bye bye.